Well, we are officially recording. Amy
Yay.
Hazel, welcome to the show. Welcome to Brolosophy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. So you're called the world's pole dancing unicorn.
Yes.
Wow, that's a crazy nickname.
Yeah. It kind of came about because a few years ago I used to dye my hair all rainbow coloured.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, someone one day was like, oh, you look like a unicorn, and then it stuck from there. So it wasn't my name that I gave myself.
No,
but
that's real arrogant to do that. You can't really go around and give yourself nicknames.
I'm going to be the...
Yeah, you guys can call me, is that your nickname? It is now. Yeah, cool. Well, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Amy. Like, what's your, who is Amy Hazel? What do you do? Tell me about yourself.
Let me start from the beginning. I grew up in Hong Kong. I was raised there for 15 years. My parents still live there. I came back here for boarding school. I danced since I was 6 years old in all different styles of dance. And then when I was 18, I heard an advert for pole dancing, and I was like, I want to give this a go. And so I tried one class and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't lift myself off the ground. But I saw what the girls were doing and how they could move their bodies. And I was like, I want to do that. So I signed up for a course, and I worked my way up to the highest level of the school that I was at. And then I went to England for university for a year, and I wanted to do lingerie design, so designing swimwear and underwear and corsets. But then I got 1 year into that and was like, not for me. I quit, then moved back to Hong Kong and had that moment with my parents being like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And then I was like, well, why don't I make pole dancing a thing? Because I was really good at it and I loved it. So I started teaching in Hong Kong and built myself back up, and then started competing. And then once I started competing, then the sponsorships came and the people started following me, and then all of a sudden,
Pole
here I
dancing's
am.
your life. Wow, that's great. Yeah. That's a really cool story, because a lot of people find, something that they're super passionate about, and then it goes in the too hard basket to really have a crack and, make it their life. But that's pretty awesome that you've been able to do that. Yeah. Is pole dancing, is that like I have one of my best buddies, I was best man at his wedding, him and his wife, and his wife is mad for pole dancing. She's crazy, absolutely loves it. Yeah. But I feel like it's a new sport. Would that be fair to say?
Well, when you're coming from an outsider, it can seem like a new sport, but once you're in it, you know that it's been around for many, many, many years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and especially like the schools around Melbourne have been around for at least 12 years.
That's relatively new, though.
It is relatively new.
I'm talking against the Olympics. They're sports that are thousands of years old.
True.
You're like, well, it's been around forever, mate. You don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, if you're diving back into strip clubs, like that's been around for many, many years. Yeah. But as a sport, I guess it is fairly new. But yeah, it's definitely skyrocketed pretty fast, and it's becoming much more well known as a sport. And it just seems to be blowing up.
There's a few things that I see that I didn't really used to see very much in the past. I was talking to a guy last week about esports. He was in here, and esports is growing really, really fast, and I'm starting to see it all over the place. Something that I'm very interested in. I'm a big fan of the UFC and mixed martial arts, and that's like blown up. But I've been along that, that journey. Yeah. But pole dancing seems to be another one that's just super, super popular. Is it growing rapidly in participation, stuff like that?
It is growing. Yeah. I mean, I think it's steadily growing, because I feel like you have to be a certain type of person to persist with it, because it's painful and it takes a lot of energy, and it's not for everyone. So a lot of people try it and then maybe 5% stay with it, because it is painful, and you have to be able to sit with pain, like skin burn and like bruising.
I can imagine the skin burn, the inner thigh burn.
Yeah,
and the worst place to have skin burn.
Exactly, and like the first few like beginners classes, people are like, "Does the pain go away?" And you're like, "Sometimes."
You're like, maybe, man.
Yeah, or like it'll go away there, and then you'll find a new place to have that same burn.
Yeah, it'll go away in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then the other place will hurt more for the next 3 weeks. Interesting. Yeah, because I think I feel like sports that have if a sport's easy to pick up, it's good at the participation level at the start, but then it's not kind of engaging forever and a day. Like, I'm a weightlifter, Olympic weightlifter. Not as in the Olympics, but the sport of Olympic weightlifting. Every time I say that, people are like, "You're in the Olympics." I'm like, "No, I'm not." So I'm a weightlifter, and it's it's a very difficult sport.
Yeah.
Very demanding and so forth. And I got a lot of mates that are really into jiu-jitsu, and I feel like they're sports, and I'm sure pole dancing would be the same, where once you start to see improvement, you get really hooked. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. And the great thing about pole dancing is there's different ways to achieve things, or there's many different things that you can achieve. So like, I feel like in weightlifting or something, like there's a specific move and there's one way to do it. Whereas in pole, there's a specific move, but there's like maybe 10 different ways you can get into it, or make a change of it and it will look like a different shape. So, and not only if you can't do a trick, then you can work on dancing, or you can work on stretching, or a flexi move, or a strong move. There's like so many different elements that if one isn't your style, try another. Yeah.
So just to dive into that just for a sec, so I can understand a pole dancing competition. So you've won lots of awards and so on and so forth all around the world in dancing. So pole dancing. So when you have a competition, is a routine something that you build yourself, or do you have to follow a set number of tricks and
like gymnastics kind of thing?
Yeah. But like, because ice skating, for example, is your own routine, right?
Yeah.
Like people come out and they plan behind the scenes what they're going to do, and then they come and blow the crowd away. Is that similar pole dancing, or is it more structured?
So it's all your own choreography. You can either get someone to help you do it, or you do it yourself. Where since I danced since I was 6 years old, for me, creating a routine was my favorite part. Cool. And then there's like, you have a set amount of rules. So there's like flexibility tricks and strength tricks and dance and like showmanship, and so there's like elements of the judging criteria that you want to fit into, but it's your own choice of what you do.
Oh, that's great.
So in a competition, there's a spin pole and a static pole. So one that turns when you move it and one that stays still. You have to use both, and you have to do dynamic, and like there's so many elements to it. But a routine is about 3.5 to 5 minutes, depending on the competition. And you're judged on your variety of things that you do.
Yeah, cool. So as a pole dancer competitively, what does the training in the week look like? Are you doing obviously technique stuff and actually the routine and being upside down and twirling yourself around and all the crazy stuff that you do on the pole? But how much like strength and conditioning, flexibility, how much of other styles of training do you do? So
when I was in my peak training for comps kind of season, I would be weightlifting just for some even strength, because pole is actually quite one-sided. When you're standing on the side of the pole, you use one muscle to do one thing and the other to do something else, but you're not leveling it up. So I found weightlifting was very symmetrical. I would then do running for cardio. So I'd listen to the song that I was going to do, and I would sprint to the parts when I was doing my pole combos, and then jog when I was doing the floor work. And then I would train my combos during the week, and then I would train the dancing separately, and then not until the week before would I kind of put it all together.
Gotcha.
But flexibility, I train after running every day, and I mean, I used to run a lot, and now I don't.
Running sucks.
I got over that.
I don't like it. I used to love it, but I only run with my dog now just when he's annoying me and I want to work him out. Cool. So when you're taking it seriously, what does a competitive season look like?
I mean, back when I was competing, there wasn't as many comps as there are now, but I would pick a few comps that I really wanted to do for that year, and then I would pick themes that I wanted to do, but I'd try and space the comps out to give me a few months to prepare for each rather than back to back. There was one year that I did a couple of comps back to back, like a week apart, and different routines for them, and I just lost my spark for wanting to do competitions.
For sure.
Just felt like just
it's too much.
Yeah,
it's too much.
Way too much.
Yeah, you mentally build yourself up, and you even physically you're totally battered.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never danced around on a pole, but I'd imagine it would be. I can just relate to weightlifting, for example. Your central nervous system is trashed.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
But I would assume it'd be very similar for pole dancing because you're really squeezing all the juice out of your energy systems. I guess
it's high intensity and full body. Like it's insane how much effort it takes. And I've had friends that did their routine on stage and came off and they were like throwing up in a bucket backstage. And it's just like insane what we do. Yeah,
that's crazy. So now, so you're not competing as much now?
No. Yeah. So I've as of last year. Last year I kind of said I was not going to do many comps anymore.
Yep.
I won the comp that I wanted to do, and then after that I was like, okay, I feel good. Yeah.
See you later, suckers.
And while I'm on top.
I'll just grab my trophy. Oh, that's great. Yeah. So is it because, is it just too hard on the body to maintain a long career in pole dancing? Or?
Yeah, I found that, I had a history of being in an eating disorder, and I found that my body hormonally never got back to normal after dropping so much weight and then coming back to normal, like healthy weight. Yeah. And then I dropped again. Like I used to find reasons to go back into my eating disorder because I found it easier to dance and train because I was lighter. And so like I just kept playing tricks on my brain. And then I was like,
this would be good for my, good for my sport progression.
Sport. And then I would like start dropping weight like tremendously. And I was like, I have abs. Like I'm athletic.
Okay.
But it was really kind of playing on my eating disorder, and I was using it hand in hand. So I was like, that's enough. I can't keep doing this. I need to get my health back in order. So I've taken more time for myself and diving more into researching about the body and getting to know that stuff. I'm also studying to be a naturopath.
Cool.
I'm at uni at the Southern School of Natural Therapies. Which I'm loving. So, that's a little change of direction.
Yeah, it's cool. But you have a studio, right?
Yeah, it's called Blackbird.
That's right. That's right. So you're still super heavily involved and you would dance all the time and be around it, right?
Yeah.
You're just not competing.
Yeah, I'm not competing. And I'm teaching my 5 classes a week and managing the studio with my partner. And it's still a lot, but less than I was doing.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah. That's good. You talk about, you mentioned before that you had an eating disorder. So, I wanted to kind of dive into that because it's the whole eating disorders, mental health. If there's a through line through this podcast, it's kind of like understanding the human mind. The people that come on, that's what fascinates me the most is how everybody's mind works, for the better or for the worse. And I would say that a lot of us have issues with mental health or eating disorders, and your mind can play funny tricks on you. And that's for sure. Yeah. So I didn't really ask because we just jumped into the conversation and so forth. A lot of the time, I'd give someone a little bit more of a chance to tell us about their background and stuff. But you said you grew up in Hong Kong.
Yes.
Like, what was your upbringing like? And leading into getting yourself to a position where you were in an unhealthy place.
Yeah. So I grew up in Hong Kong and I felt like it was good and bad in many ways. Like I felt that the multiculturalism of Hong Kong was really beneficial to my life in the future. Like I feel really open to people's diversity. If they want to do something, like I'm not judgmental because I grew up with so many different races and people and religions stuff. So it was really good in that circumstance. But in saying that, there was just as much bullying as there is anywhere in high school. So, I was bullied at school and someone called me a fat, ugly, pale, B-I-T-E.
You can swear if you want.
Yeah, bitch. So, from
Got
that,
you with all of them.
Yeah.
Fat,
she just
ugly, pale,
pale bitch. Yeah, all of it. And like, it was like a quadruple shot. And I was like, oh my God. So from that day, I was like, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to wear makeup. I'm going to put on fake tan and I'm going to be the really nicest person. I was like, I can't be any of those 4 things. So I literally from that day, I was like, okay, I'm going to walk to school. I'm going to walk home from school. I'm going to do 4 hours of dance classes. I'm going to work out in my room. I'm going to not eat anything. I'm going to, buy all the makeup and tan and straighten my hair. And I changed everything about myself because of that situation. And I started to lose more and more weight, and my mum was getting really concerned.
How old were you?
I was 12.
12, right.
Yeah.
And was this ongoing bullying, or it was one thing that kind of just... it was a little bit of bullying and one thing that kind of straw that broke the camel's back? Or what did it look like?
It was a little bit ongoing. It started on MSN Messenger.
Oh, really?
Back then, yeah.
Online bullying.
Online, and then at school, she would start shouldering me down.
So this is one person.
Yeah.
And she would bully you online, because I never have dealt personally with online bullying. And I want to understand, so this particular person would reach out to you on MSN Messenger in a direct message and go, hey, you suck, you're fucking ugly.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I would just be sitting in my room. I know. And I would be
play Lemmings or something.
Just so heartbroken. And I was...
Solitaire.
And then I would go to... which I used to do.
I'm just thinking of games that were around the MSN Messenger stage.
Or that, what is that, bomb one?
Minesweeper.
Oh, so much fun.
Yeah, I never knew how that game worked for about the first 5 years I played it. I'm like, what do all these numbers mean?
Yeah. Closer. Yeah. Then I would go to school and it would just continue and it was just horrible. And I wanted to change everything about myself. And once I started losing weight, she started not coming near me anymore, and people were then commenting, being like, oh wow, you're looking good, because I'd lost a little bit. And then it just got extreme. So when people were complimenting, saying wow, you're looking good, it kind of spurred me on to go further and keep doing it. So then I lost a heap of weight, and then that was at the time when my mum was looking to send my brother to boarding school here. And I went to have a look at the school with my brother, and I was like, Mum, when can I start? I just want to leave Hong Kong. And so she ended up signing me up too, and I moved over. And once I did move over and I found a good bunch of friends in Melbourne, I started to just mend, and I got better in my own way because I was around nicer people and in a better environment. But then I got to year 12 and I'd started to put on more weight than I felt comfortable in. And then it kind of, those things started coming back into my mind. And I started wanting to throw up my food. So then I started purging and making, coming into bulimia. And
so this is different. So originally you would call it maybe anorexia.
Anorexia,
earlier.
Yeah. Anorexia and exercise. Then bulimia was second. And the things that went in my mind then were, it was like mind games the whole time. I felt bad on myself because I wasn't strong enough to just do what I did before and be anorexic. I wasn't strong enough to restrict. I still wanted to eat, but then I was throwing up. And then I started to be like, okay, I'm only going to use this bathroom. Or then I would do it somewhere else and I'd be like, okay, I'm only going to use these 2 bathrooms. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, well, I'll do it everywhere except for these 3 bathrooms. It was like I was just trying to justify what I was doing to myself. So then what happened then? Then I went to England for university and it just went downward spiral because the energy over in England is just so down, and depressed. And
do you just mean the miserable palms?
Yeah, I was like, no, but it's true. I was like, now I understand.
I got lots of pommy mates and they're all miserable, pale bastards.
Because, you'd catch up with a friend.
It is a miserable place to be. I love London. The 6 weeks in the year that it's really lovable and great to be there.
Yeah.
But I've been there in September and October, not even winter. I've been there in winter, but not even in winter, and it's like, fuck, this joint sucks.
Yeah.
It's just overcast and cold and miserable, and everyone responds to each other in the same, the moods follow the weather pattern.
Exactly.
For sure. Like a lot of places, but
but I remember catching up with friends and it would be like, hey, how you doing? In Aussie we'd be like, yeah, good. They'd be like, oh, this thing happened, and I'm like, oh, okay. It was never a happy
You seem very bubbly too. You're very like, hey, how you going? What's up? Hey, it'd be hard to.
Yeah. Like people over there would be like, you're so different. And I'm like, why? Because I'm like cheerful.
That's because I'm happy.
Yeah. So it just kind of like took me down like a stronger spiral.
So you were there for a year.
I was there for a year.
And this was right in the midst of your bulimia.
Yes.
Your bulimia period. Oh yeah, that would have been really difficult.
Yeah. So it got really bad.
Did you manage to find friends there? Like, did you manage to? Because a year is not a long time to kind of get in, find like you have people you can rely on and trust. And I'm sure you have lots of people you could be friendly with, but did you find it difficult to get in there and
I made friends quite easily, but the one person that I really connected with, only a few weeks later did I find out that she was also bulimic. Then we kind of just both were like pulling each other down. Like it was just like, if she was sick, I'd be like, oh, it's okay, don't worry. Like you don't have to, like, we can work it out together, and it would just parties. It was just bad. And I was at first I was like, maybe this is good. Like we'll help each other get better. And then we were just getting worse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you just enabled each other and kind of made excuses for each other.
Yeah, we were like, oh, it's okay, don't worry.
Yeah, right.
When really it was,
far out.
Problem.
So you're not a very large human being in general. I would say. But what did you? Because you would have been similar. You'd have been the same height, right?
Yeah.
What did you? How skinny did you get?
So I was 37 kilos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was wearing like kids.
It's about a computer and a half.
Probably.
It's a laptop and a half.
Yeah. Like I was wearing kids aged 9 clothing.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was 21. Like that's saying something.
Oh, so yeah. Did the whole English experience? Did you actually enjoy it over there? Would you say before, like for your 12 months that you were? There
were elements that I did enjoy. The other people that I met, and the partying and the uni life and the things that I studied were really interesting. But after that year, I was like, I can only just see this going worse and worse. So I had to tell my dad that I didn't want to continue with the course. Yeah. So once I did that, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. And when I moved back to Hong Kong and I had that crisis of what am I going to do, my mum had secretly booked me in to see a nutritionist.
Yep.
And at first I was like, how dare you? Like, I don't need anyone.
Fine.
Yeah.
Mum, I'm wearing size 9.
Yeah.
Size 9 years of age.
Yeah, exactly. And then, once I saw her and I connected with her, I was like, okay, maybe I do need this. Yeah. Yeah, and she helped me.
So when you are bulimic and you're, 37 kilograms and you've been in that state of mind for 12 months or 18 months or whatever you said, and you sit down with a nutritionist, how tough is it to understand the position that you're in? Is it like denial and like how hard is it to pull yourself back to a healthy lifestyle? Was it a real thing?
It's a real denial because, she would say, what celebrity do you think you look like? And I'd say, maybe I was like, oh, Eva Longoria. She's like, you're kidding. Like you look like a stick figure. Like you look like a lollipop.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like I'm definitely her size. And then she would kind of put into reality what I actually was. And it took a long time to feel like that was true.
Yeah.
But then she would kind of give me tasks to do each week. Like, this week you need to eat a pancake or like something that I feared to eat. Yep. She was like, this week you need to eat a fear food. Yeah. Yep. And then I would come back the next week and she would weigh me and she'd be like, you're the same weight, or you even lost like 500 grams. Like, so the thing that you were scared to eat doesn't make you balloon and all of a sudden become fat. Like it's nothing. It doesn't make you change as a person. You're still you. Mm-hmm. You can't blame the food.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny how we view ourselves, or I've always been a healthy eater, and I've never had any issues with eating disorders. But it's funny. I for sure had at least some form of body dysmorphia growing up to a degree. Not trying to like get in on
no.
but
I'm sure that I feel like 98% of the world does.
For sure.
At some point.
Well, what I would do as a kid, this is probably like 15 years old till probably, I reckon 22. I would go into the bathroom like 5 times a day and sit and stand on the scales, or like I'd go to the bathroom, like wash my hands or like have a shower. I wasn't really like making direct trips to go to the bathroom. Maybe I was, I can't really remember, but I reckon 5 times a day I would get on the scales to see what I weighed, because for me it was the other way around, because guys want to be like big and strong and tough. And I think for me it was just like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone movies growing up, and I was like, okay, cool. If you want to be successful and like live happily ever after with a woman who gyms, you have to be big and muscly and strong. And it never really went anywhere for me, but to weigh yourself 5 times a day and hope that you're putting on and be stoked if you're putting on 200 grams is not healthy.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
And that's not possible. You can't do that in a day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's funny, how the mind plays tricks on us. So how long was the whole process of getting back to, when was the point where you would say to yourself, all right, cool, I feel like I'm healthy again?
Yeah. So I saw that nutritionist for about a year, seeing her twice a week physically and then emailing her every day.
Oh, that's a lot.
It took a lot. Yeah.
Heavy work.
At any point that I had a meal, I had to email her because I was so anxious about what I just ate.
Really?
Yeah. It was struggle. And she would email within like 2 hours easily and then just help me. Yeah. She was the savior.
Yeah.
So after about a year, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm on the right foot. I'd put on a bit of weight. I was still skinny, but it was uncomfortable for me, but I sat with it and I was okay. So then I started to look more into the reasons why I want to be getting bigger or put on weight, because originally my hair started all falling out, but just because lack of proteins and lack of things, and my nails were shedding and my skin was dry, and I grew this little fur layer over my whole body. It's like the coping mechanism of being skinny.
You turned into a werewolf.
Yeah, to stay warm. So
is that what your body does?
Yeah.
Your body goes into shock, and because you don't have fat and muscle to keep yourself warm, keep your bones warm, really, you start to grow hair.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, just
that
fur.
Insane.
It's a soft little fur.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Geez, the human body's switched.
I know. So,
okay.
So I wanted to. So one of the things my nutritionist was like, "What do you want to do?" And when was your happiest moments? And I was like, my happiest time was when I was pole dancing. And she was like, "Well, in order to pole dance, you need to build muscle, which means you need to eat proteins and fats and things like that." And I was just like, okay. So I have to focus on I want to pole dance, therefore I need to eat this and this and this, or I want my hair to grow back, therefore I need to eat this and this. So I needed to focus on that end goal that kept me going. Yeah. Because otherwise it was well, what am I putting on weight for? Yeah,
you had a performance-based, well, I suppose, with the pole dancing stuff. Not a performance, but that makes sense. You had tangible goals of things that you wanted to achieve rather than just you want to eat so you put on weight, which is something that you've always felt the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. I never wanted to eat to put on weight, but I wanted to eat to be able to have the strength to pole dance. Yeah. Oh, that's great. It's lucky you had pole dancing then. Yeah.
Really,
it was great.
Anchor yourself off. In terms of a goal and what have you. So what does health and fitness look like to you now as a general sense? You seem very upbeat and healthy and happy right now. Is it still an ongoing struggle? Do you ever have tough times and how do you stay on top of everything?
Yeah. So after I had that phase and I felt okay, then I got into competitive pole dancing and I was good for a while until I felt like I was not doing it for me anymore. And I was traveling the world. I traveled the whole world teaching classes and, it got to a stage where I was like, I don't want to travel but I was like overseas and I just felt like a caged monkey where it was like I'd arrive somewhere, I'd teach my classes or I'd do a performance that they wanted me to do, and then I'd go back to the hotel room and the next day they'd pick me up at this time and I'd teach my classes. And I was like, I literally feel like a dance monkey. Like, go out, do your thing. Just like studios around the world. Yeah, whoever was hosting me. Like, they're beautiful people, and like I got to see a lot of the world and they showed me around, but like I didn't...
Wasn't good for you.
Yeah, I didn't feel like for me I needed to do that stuff. So there was one point where I used to use my travel as an excuse to not eat because I was in different places or I was transiting. So I would just starve myself again.
Yeah.
And so I had another episode of low weight a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago, when I dropped again to about 40 kilos.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, this means I'm not in a happy place. I'm not doing something that I want to do. So I decided to like say no to a lot more teaching opportunities. And I was like, I just want to focus on me again. And then I found I met my boyfriend, and like we've bought a house together, and now I feel happy, and I feel like I don't have to prove my pole dancing or my worth to anyone else. Like I feel grounded and good. So now I focus a lot more on my my mental health and like my intuitive eating. Like I read a lot of books on like the anti-diet, and I listen to a lot of podcasts about women's health and anti-dieting culture and things like that.
What does anti-dieting mean?
Anti-dieting is like getting rid of the rules that everyone's ever instilled into you.
Yep.
So things like you can only eat 3 meals a day. You can only eat this many calories a day. You can
only eat food.
Eat this, but not those things. Get rid of all the rules and just like eat when you feel hungry. Yeah. And eat whatever you want when you feel hungry.
Yeah. It's funny how many ways there are out there to eat, though.
Yeah.
Like, you listen to one, like the Game Changers, for example.
Yeah.
I haven't even watched that documentary. Yeah. But I fucking know exactly what's going on in the argument this side versus that side. Yeah. And everybody's talking about it. And it, you know, there's so many different ways to eat. Jordan Peterson, do you know Jordan Peterson?
No.
He's an author slash he's a university lecturer slash author. He basically, he's a real smart dude who went on Joe Rogan's podcast one time and then blew up and became a worldwide phenomenon who travels the world telling. He's basically like a new age philosopher. Yeah. Yeah. And it was all because of Joe Rogan's podcast. It's funny. Right. Yeah. But Jordan Peterson's he's written a couple of books in the last couple of years. He's quite good to listen to. But the carnivore diet, like the meat-only diet, he eats meat with salt on it 3 times a day.
Really?
Like it's just a slab of steak with a little bit of salt on it. And because he's so popular, everybody's like, oh my God, the carnivore diet is the new rage and blah, blah. It's just, I don't think we actually know anything about anything.
No.
I think it's all...
It's so funny because, like, as a kid, they're so intuitive. Like, they eat when they're hungry, they stop when they're full. Mm-hmm. But, like, just growing up, you just start to, like, ingrain all these little, like, habits or, like, rules, regulations, finish your plate before you can have dessert. Like, just so many things that you don't think are going to play a role in the mind, but they all have impact. And yeah, and then you start to become more strict, and then next minute you're really struggling with knowing what to eat, when to eat, and why you're eating.
Yeah, for sure. I think I think most people should be able to find a really nice. I think if you're eating relatively good food, unprocessed food, and you just eat whenever you feel hungry, then you should basically win the game. Yeah. You know, I know for a fact myself, when I'm training, I try and eat a lot. You know, because I've got a fast metabolism, so to be a weightlifter, I always have to overeat much more than what I would normally would to stay big enough for my weight category. Yeah, because So, but even like when I'm not really training super hard, or in the past, like I eat way too much food. I don't need to eat the amount of food, but I've always been the opposite of you. Yeah, I've always been like, oh, you need to eat lots of food to be big and strong. I remember when I was younger, I had a coach, and I was doing CrossFit for about 2 or 3 years there. I was competing and all that stuff, just like local competitions. Yeah. And I remember I went to this competition and wasn't strong enough in a couple of the events. Like it was like I could do all these skills in like the second, third, and fourth stage, but the first and second stage, there was like a strength element and I couldn't pass it.
Yeah.
And I came back from that competition. I said to my coach, I was like 25. Yeah. I'm 33 now. And I said to my coach, I was like, hey, mate, I'm never going to a competition again and not being strong enough to do something. And he goes, all right. I said, what do we need to do? And then so he changed the programming because I'll do his the classes, but I had my own programming on top.
Yeah.
And he told me, he gave me the program and he's like, all right, cool. What's your diet like? And I said, I eat this, this, and this. He goes, okay, I want you to eat sweet potato with every meal. I'm like, yeah, okay. He goes, and are you lactose intolerant? And I said, no. He goes, drink as much milk as you can drink in a day, every day. And I was like, wow. I can drink a lot of milk. He goes, do it. So I reckon for the next 9 to 12 months, probably 6 to 9 months, I drank 3 to 5 litres of milk every day. Oh,
God.
Yeah, and you know what?
Oh, my God.
I still drink about a litre of milk every day.
Really?
Yeah. It's just because it's ingrained in me to be like, extra calories, need to be big and strong, need to keep your weight on, whatever. I drink fucking heaps of milk. So I've probably got the opposite problem you have.
Yeah. You're like,
you should be interviewing me.
Keep eating.
But yeah, it's so funny. And I don't need to eat that much. Like when I eat half of what I eat normally, I'm perfectly fine. Yeah. You know, it's probably better for the body because I don't have to process as much food and it's not working as hard all the time.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing about like having a starvation mind is like you're always judging the other people's food as well. Yeah. Like you're like, how are they eating so much and they're like this and blah, blah, blah. Or like, how can they eat so much and why can't I eat so much? And you're just always judgmental of other people. So I used to find it hard to watch someone eat less than me. That meant I had to eat less than them. Because I was like, it was always a competition with the food.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But when I met my boyfriend and he trains a lot, like he does marathons and triathlons and he just eats everything in the house. And I'm like, okay, good. Like I don't feel bad about now eating everything as well.
Yeah, that's good. Cool. So you mentioned nowadays you like to learn about and put time into your own mental health. So what does that look like to you?
So every time I drive, I listen to a podcast about mental health or...
What podcasts? What are some good ones you listen to? I listen to a few mental health.
The ATP Project, I listen to a lot about naturopathic stuff. Yep. I listen to a lot of women's ones, which are like Fertility Friday, which talks about hormones and... what's the other one that I listen to? Yeah, they're mainly like women's hormone podcasts because that's the main thing I'm focused on. Yeah. But like there's a few that are really like that I listen to constantly. But yeah, I'm all on Fertility Friday right now, which is like, it's because it's not just about fertility. It's about like everything to do with women's hormones and essential oils that help and like that kind of stuff. So yeah.
There's a brand called Kin Fertility. Have you seen it?
No.
It's a new brand. Do you know Koala, the mattress company?
Yeah.
There's a dude, Tim Doyle, and I got introduced to him the other day through like a mutual friend. So he was the head of growth at Koala. So they're worth like, they turn over $150 million selling mattresses or something. And he was like the main catalyst. And he broke off and started a company that that basically like a venture capital company that they're funding themselves. And the first two brands that he launched were Pilot Health, men's health, e-commerce men's health brand for like erectile dysfunction, hair loss, weight gain or whatever, and you can do it discreetly. And then they've just launched Kin Fertility, and it's like it's a brand for women's health. It's called Kin.fertility on Instagram. You should look it up because you would like it, and the brand will blow up because Tim Doyle's really good, and he's just and I like what they've done with the Pilot Health and the mental health on the guy's side. It's following have you heard of Hims? For Hims?
No.
It's a company in the US that has a similar model to Pilot Health, the men's health, the online men's health, and then they've just launched their online women's health. So you should check it out because it'll be a really cool brand and they're really content heavy and you just like it.
Yeah, it's so interesting what like your food intake can do to your hormones. Like, I mean, in men as well, like people who are under eating, it's like things won't work anymore. Like your body tends to go into shutdown, so starvation mode, and like the only things that they want to run are like your heartbeat and your lungs. And then the rest start to slowly shut down.
So what are the ongoing issues that you've had from the time?
So I haven't had a menstruation for 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's one thing that I'm battling at the moment. My hair's finally grown back, which is
luscious.
It's nice now. So that was like my number one priority. I was like, right, avocados and salmon. Yeah.
Oh, really? Avocados and salmon?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
that's
oils.
Why I've got such a thick head of hair. I love avocado and salmon.
Yeah. So the oils were really helpful. And what else? Receding gums from the throwing up and like gum damage from all that. So that's never really going to come back. The acid through the mouth. So that's something that I'll have to deal with and keep monitoring and make sure that, dental
really?
checkups. Yeah.
Yeah, you really pay for it, don't you, for years down the line, it sounds like.
Yeah. And I mean, I have no idea what like issues I've done with my stomach or like my liver or anything like that. So those, I guess, will show up in the future, but yeah, as long as I stay on a good path now, hopefully I can make it all go away.
But I was interested more so as well. We got off track to I want to know more about the mental health stuff. You said you listen to podcasts about, but is there anything else that you do on a day-to-day basis to be on top of, being the best version of yourself? And so forth?
I mean, instead of like making myself do something like go to the gym or run or like those things that I used to be like, I have to do these things. It's now like if I wake up, I actually check in with my body and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling sore. Like, I don't need to run today. Like, I'm just going to stay at home, maybe have a home day. Or I go for a walk in the morning and just slow, leisurely, like just like nothing strenuous. Or, like sometimes when you're exercising and you're like, I don't want to be doing this. It's like, don't do it. Like, you don't have to do
I've
it.
done that so many times.
Fuck. Like if you want to get stronger and you're in that mind frame, you're like, yes, I just want to get this, like go for it. But if you're like, I don't want to be doing this, don't do it.
We're very similar, I reckon, in the way our minds play true. I used to just feel like I've got bugs crawling under my skin if I haven't gone and like lifted weights in the day or whatever.
Yeah, I used to be like that.
I'm a little like that, but I'm a fair bit more relaxed now. Yeah. What else?
I mean, I've just been like when I do my research or I look at listen to podcasts or read books and stuff, I make sure I take note of the things that really stand out. Things like body scans, like actually checking in with the body, doing yoga. I did my yoga teacher training last year, which was really helpful.
Sweet.
Like philosophical talks and things like that were really made you really think about why you were actually doing things and puts your life into a bit of a perspective. So you're looking at it from an outside box. And taking a step back, like when you're going to make a decision or you feel impulsive to do something, take a step back and be like, why am I actually doing this? Like, do I need to be doing this? And, listening to your body a lot more, just through mindfulness, like sitting still and sitting with the uncomfortable. Yeah. And telling yourself it's okay to be uncomfortable or it's okay to do nothing.
Yeah. And do you meditate?
I mean, not in the form of like sitting cross-legged, but more like throughout the day, spending time to check in with myself when I do have a moment. Like when I'm driving in my car, no one's with me, so I can be like, okay, how am I feeling? Yeah. And then,
I guess
that's
the difference between mindfulness and meditation, I guess. Yeah. That's just having mindfulness, I guess I would say.
Yeah. Well, meditation is then like sitting on those thoughts.
Yeah, that's right.
For a longer period of time.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I also do like non-strenuous things like knitting or drawing and things that aren't so body strenuous, but I can focus on one thing and just do.
Well, meditation is the art of focusing on one thing. Yeah. It's not actually sitting with your legs. Like people think of meditation as sitting, and that's the best way to explain it. You know, I'm not having to go at your explanation. But it's it's the art of just focusing heavily on one thing. That's why things can be meditative, and that's what you're talking about. I guess is like for you, knitting and drawing is like being in the zone and focused. And meditation normally is just focusing on the breath, but it seems like you have other ways to get that stillness, I guess, and getting that I don't like the word flow state. I don't like that term. I just have a problem with it. Everyone says it too much.
Flow state.
Yeah. Have you not heard that term?
No.
Oh, when you get in flow, when people are like, oh yeah, you know, when I get in flow. And
I get what you mean.
Yeah, it's just like, it's when you kind of just in rhythm with life and you're just focusing on whatever. But it just gets overused, so I just don't like to use it. But I did anyway. So
like get in the zone.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, cool. So I'm just checking in on the time. So as far as any young guys or girls out there that are going through a similar thing that you might have gone through, so whether it's any sort of body dysmorphia or eating disorders or whatever, what would you say would be, and not even young people, I think I said young people, people in
Anyone,
general, people in general, what advice would you have for somebody that's going through a real rough trot in that regard?
I think by delving down and seeing what actually caused the problem in the first place, and seeing what in your life is out of control that you feel the need to control that, because food is in your own control. So what I found was when I wasn't in control, that's the thing I could control. So find out what isn't in control that you can work at and change, whether it's people you're hanging out with, environment, or anything like that. And doing a lot more research into the health outcomes of being in that situation. Like there's really nothing good that comes out of being in the deprived state. And there's no end goal. Like there's no end result. You're never, ever, ever skinny enough or small enough or big enough, you know? It's just it's an ongoing battle. So if you find a goal that's actually like tangible and livable and working towards a better future, try and hone in on that and not focus so much on the food. Food should be social. Food should be food. You should never have to earn your food. We're human beings that survive on calorie intake because that's how we run. Our whole body runs. So we should never have to earn our foods or restrict it or have boundaries or rules. Like it should just be there.
That's cool. That's good advice. And then what does the future look like for you then? So you're still very heavily involved obviously in pole dancing because you got your studio, and are you looking to like expand your studio, coach? Like what does the next 5, 10 or whatever years look like for you? What would you like to see?
So my boyfriend and I run a retreat in Bali once a year. We did our first one last year, so again this year, and that's more about mindfulness and ways of thinking, and so that's one of the things that we work on each year, and then just building the studio up and training the other instructors to become better trainers. I still love coaching and I still love dancing, so I'm going to do that for as much as I can. But ultimately, maybe when I finish my degree in naturopathy, maybe writing more blogs about naturopathic herbal healing, things like that. I don't think I want to work clinically, but I want to work like kind of globally, like in interwebs.
Through your own brand. Kind of thing.
And then maybe a family in the future.
Cool. Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Well, I have no further questions.
Cool.
Amy, thanks.
Good.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. Oh, lastly, sorry. Nearly forgot. So where can people find you? People that have found anything interesting, you know.
So my Instagram I use as much as possible. So that's Amy Hazel 92.
Yep.
So I write a lot of blogs recently on that. So little like captions below the pictures, a lot about mental health and identity and those things. Alternatively, my website is hazelmovement.com. So if you want to email me or like write to me, you can go through the link there. If you wanted to come to my studio, Blackbird in Cheltenham in Melbourne, come visit, have a class. Yeah.
Cool.
Those are the 3.
All right, great. No worries. Well, Amy, thanks a lot for coming on the show. And that's a wrap.
Yay.